I want to show you guys something that I've had for at least a year. And for some reason the other day I came across it and I thought, I haven't ever done any video on this, haven't even talked about it. And it's something that I really think is important for me in my life and what I do. And you may find some uses for it to apply to what you do. This is my weapons cache bag. What brought this on was one day I was quite a bit of distance from my house. I was working around my one of my storage buildings, and a couple of pit bulls came down the driveway. I was too far away from getting to my house if I needed some kind of firearm protection, and I just realized that I could be very vulnerable in a situation like that, or because we do live out in the country, I could be surprised by a burglar or somebody meaning ill intent. And so I wanted to have something readily available that was kind of out of sight, out of mind, but if I ever got separated from my house or from my firearm, I'd have another option. So we're going to look today at the Personal Defense Cache Bag. Now I like to have a bag with everything contained in here. And it kind of keeps it secure in some ways. It looks non-conspicuous, especially sitting with a lot of other stuff. And I had this in my storage building, and it's kind of out of the way. In fact, you wouldn't be able to find this unless you knew what you were looking for and how to find it. And so this makes it really great for me to keep secured, but yet that I can get to. I've always had guns in separate rooms in case I was in the front of the house and my gun was at the back of the house. Just trying to keep my options open. And some of you may say, well, I don't really need a bag like that. Well, this is one of the things I like to do, whether it's a get home bag, a bug out bag, or whatever, is to give you options to think about. That's something that may apply to you. So first off, I got a really good secure bag. Of course, this has MOLLE webbing on it, a little handle. But one of the most important elements about this type setup is to have something to be able to carry this bag and have one hand free or both hands free. So I've got a nice shoulder strap. I can throw this over my shoulder, or I can grab the grab handle. Now, one thing that I want to mention before we get started is that you want to keep this as simple as possible. Just have the basic necessities for a security situation. And of course, the first thing is a good handgun. Having something, I didn't really want to put something small. I wanted a full service pistol. Just gives me a lot of different options, and really concealment is not necessarily what I'm looking for. This is on my own property, and it's to have in case I get separated from my home. So I wanted something with a little bit of firepower, and yet not too large as far as a rifle. And of course, first things first, the gun is unloaded. One magazine in the pistol, and then I have 3 here that are in a pouch. That way, they're ready to grab. I don't have to fish around the bottom to find them. They're already secured. So that gives me 60 rounds of ammunition right at my fingertips. Of course, the most important security tool is a good flashlight. And here we have the Olight. This is the M20X Warrior, a really high lumen flashlight. And this is a good tactical flashlight. In fact, it's military grade. I have a diffuser on here. Of course, that can come off, and really has a bright light. This stainless steel bezel also makes this a good defensive tool. A good quality flashlight with batteries and backup batteries as well. One of the things that I really like, and I think needs to be done with this type setup, is to have the lithium ion batteries and the CR123s. These have a 10-year shelf life. So you can leave the batteries in the flashlight and have an extra set, and these will be ready to come on at any time. Next is a really good knife, something very sturdy. And here we have this Cold Steel Tanto. This is an excellent knife, and it's the Voyager. And I've had this thing for about 20 years. Just an incredible knife. It's stainless steel, so I'm not worried about the elements getting to it. And it just can serve many purposes with serration and straight edge. I love that combo, and then yet I can slip this in my pocket if I need to. Next is some field dressing. In case I'm injured, in case I'm hurt, I can use this just to wrap up, or in case someone else is hurt. And this is the only first aid kit that I have in here. Listen, I'm at home. I have other first aid kits available. This is just for trauma. Now in this pocket over here, I do keep a Write in the Rain pad and a pen. And this is in case I need to write something down. It could be a license plate number or some kind of note, but this really keeps things together in one spot. And with Write in the Rain, of course, it's impervious to the elements. Now also keep a pair of AB Arms ballistic goggles. And these are high impact goggles. I like the clear because if it happens to be in the evening or at night, I do have good eye protection. And plus, I don't have the shade, so it doesn't harm my vision. These are really incredible. They have holes here to keep the fog off, but this is just something good to have in case you're out and about. It may not be something that I have time to put on, but if I need it, I've got it. And last, while this isn't very necessary really for a short-term situation, it is one of the life straws, and I can get water if I need it. These are really incredible. In fact, I'm getting ready to do a full review on these. My buddy at Engineer 775, who is the Doomsday Prepper expert on the Doomsday Prepper show for Nat Geo, he keeps one of these with him at all times. And he said this is one of the best on the market. And this, again, is not necessary in your bag. It's just something I throw in here. Plus, it's incredibly lightweight. Now, to give you a good insight in the bag, here's my holster. This is a Maxpedition universal holster. It has a Velcro backing, so it fits right in here. That way, my gun is always oriented in the correct position. And then my magazine pouches right down here are lined up right next to it. There are a couple of keepers right here in case I want to put a set of keys, which would probably be a good idea. At least have a car key or a house key put on here in case I need to get away in my vehicle. On the other side, there are just a couple of pouches, and this is where I keep my knife, my flashlight, my bandage. I like to keep everything secure and not pack it in down here. This bag addresses a very stressful situation. It's not something that you want to be fumbling around and searching for. Everything is in its place, you know where it is, and I just keep this bottom open, except I do throw in the life straw, which again is not necessary, but is still something I feel like is good to have. Now here are all the contents laid out right here on the table. And what I'd love to, if you have any comments on what could be added to this or what maybe could be taken away. Of course, the water straw I definitely feel like is an optional piece in the bag, but since you can only live 3 days without water, I just felt like that would maybe be an important thing, especially in a natural disaster type situation. These are the things that I have. I would love to see your comments below, which will help others to be able to formulate the system that works for them. This is an individual system. It's something that just fits your needs. You could keep this in a closet in another part of your house, away from your kids. You could keep it in your building, of course in your car. There are a lot of different options you could use for something like this. Self-defense is your responsibility. It's not up to law enforcement. It's not up to your neighbor. It's up to you to defend yourself and your family. So be ready. Be strong. Be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. And now, this gun is loaded.